They mocked our fragile bodies, then watched us fight through fire and ash to save them. From the first day the humans arrived on the Hralic colony, they were ridiculed. The Hralic stood twice as tall, with obsidian scales and spines that rattled when they spoke, voices echoing like thunder in a storm. Their atmosphere was dense and hot, their cities built into the walls of smoking ravines, and their work demanded strength beyond what humans could imagine. Or so they believed. The first mining day, a Hralic overseer watched a human collapse while dragging a metal cable. They roared with laughter, the sound echoing across the lava fields. "Your bones will turn to dust here, weaklings," they sneered. Even after the humans demonstrated their advanced tools and techniques, the Hralic refused to see them as anything but frail, thin-skinned curiosities. Kira, the human lead engineer, had to negotiate every day for basic safety measures. "Let us install cooling vents," she insisted. "Let us build emergency shelters in the mines." The Hralic scoffed. "We do not need your softness. We endure." Kira swallowed her frustration and kept working, patching cracks in the magma pumps and strengthening the slag lifts, each day enduring taunts about her porcelain flesh. Then came the eruption. A deep quake cracked the central magma veins, and a towering column of ash and fire swallowed the sky. The Hralic city, carved into the ravine's walls, began to crumble as molten rock spilled into the lower districts. The Hralic scrambled, roaring commands at each other, but their evacuation routes collapsed under the raining debris. The overseers were paralyzed with shock. They had no contingency plans because they had never believed they would need them. Kira felt the tremors under her boots and looked at her human team. Without a word, they ran toward the fire. Their breath seized in their chests as the air turned thick with sulfur. They wrapped soaked cloths over their mouths, skin blistering from the heat. Kira sprinted into the nearest living quarters, hauling a young Hralic child onto her shoulders. Another human, Ibrahim, climbed a shattered pillar to reach 3 terrified Hralic workers trapped on a platform. He secured them with rope, ignoring the molten spray that scorched his back. A medic named Rosa pulled scorched Hralic elders through collapsing tunnels, her eyes nearly swollen shut from smoke. Again and again, the humans returned to the flames, each time emerging carrying more Hralic, some twice their size, some clawing in terror. The Hralic could only watch from higher ledges, stunned into silence as these fragile creatures ran headlong into the inferno without armor, without scales, without hesitation. Kira collapsed beside a transport shuttle, coughing blood. She looked up to see the same overseer who once mocked her trembling at the edge of a platform, unable to move. Kira didn't hesitate. She forced her legs to carry her up the crumbling slope, grabbing his massive clawed hand. His eyes, once filled with disdain, now brimmed with raw fear. "Move," she screamed, shoving him toward the last shuttle. The ground split behind them. Kira threw her full weight against him, sending him sprawling into the shuttle, just as a wave of molten rock flooded the ledge. She fell to her knees, heat searing her back. Someone screamed her name from the shuttle. A hand shot out, Ibrahim's hand, pulling her inside a breath before the fire washed over the hull. The shuttle door slammed shut. Kira lay on the floor, lungs burning, skin blistered, hair singed down to the scalp. She heard the muffled roar of the eruption outside, felt the shuttle shudder as it lifted off. Silence followed, a deep, horrified silence. When they landed on the upper ridge out of reach of the lava flow, the surviving Hralics stumbled out first. They turned back, eyes wide, staring at the humans crawling from the shuttle behind them. Their scales were blackened with soot, but they were alive, alive only because the humans had carried them through the fire. The overseer fell to his knees before Kira. His spines rattled not in pride, but in grief and shame. "You saved us," he rasped, voice shaking. Kira could barely lift her head. "Of course," she whispered, forcing a weak smile. "We don't leave anyone behind." One by one, the other humans staggered out, their bodies broken but their spirits unyielding. They sat together, pressing burned arms against each other for comfort, sharing sips of water. The Hralic gathered around them, silent, their massive forms casting long shadows in the ash-filled dawn. Then slowly one Hralic lowered to the ground, bowing deeply. Another followed, and another, until every Hralic survivor bowed before the fragile beings they once mocked. Kira tried to wave them off, but the overseer grasped her hand in both of his claws. "We thought strength was only in muscle and scale," he said, voice hoarse. "But true strength lives here." He pressed a claw gently over her heart. The humans didn't seek worship. They didn't demand gratitude. But from that moment on, the Hralic changed. They built shrines to honor the humans' courage. They learned from them about emergency drills, safety engineering, and compassion. No longer did they scorn the humans' protective suits or insist on reckless endurance. They learned to ask for help, to value every life equally. Kira and her team healed slowly, each scar a testament to the day they proved that fragile skin could shelter a will stronger than any scale or bone. The Hrolak offered Kira a seat on their new council. She accepted, not to rule, but to guide, to remind them that the real heart of a people beats loudest in their darkest hour. In time, the legend of that day spread beyond the ravines, across the stars, carried on the breath of travelers and in the songs of merchant fleets. They told of the humans who ran into the fire, who embraced the ash and carried giants on their backs. And they always ended the story the same way. They mocked our fragile bodies, then watched us fight through fire and ash to save them.